Okay, so I'm not gonna lie, like I always thought that Zephiel was a terrible villain, like just honestly garbage and really stupid. Just like I'm gonna kill everybody because my dad was evil. And don't get it twisted, I still don't think he's a great villain or anything like that. But I was randomly reading or listening to this audiobook called Shambhala, The Sacred Path of the Warrior, that has a lot of like Tibetan Buddhist philosophy in it. And one quote that like really struck me from the book, or not like a quote, but a sentiment, is like seeing the fundamental goodness in everything and having faith in like the fundamental goodness, kind of like radical acceptance, even when you're seeing things that look like horrifically evil, like trusting in a fundamental goodness in like the order of the universe or whatever. And it reminded me of like the ideological conflict between Roy and Zephiel, and how Roy kind of represented that like Shambhalan warrior, like Tibetan Buddhist mentality of seeing the goodness in everything despite everything, right? So Zephiel comes from this extremely corrupt, like country where his king was this evil man who literally tried to kill him. There was like death, or was it his stepmom in FE7? Okay, whichever one, right? But anyways, there was like tons of like evil and corruption, not just in Burn, right, but in Etruria as well. And he was almost a victim of it, and he saw the constant like greed of mankind, people harming each other, killing each other, etc. And he ultimately decided that like the fundamental nature of human beings was like evil and decadence, and they couldn't control their emotions. And he saw that sort of like human nature fundamentally is bad and evil, which is why he wanted to just destroy humanity and give the world back to the dragons, who kind of like the I think his name was John, like the fire dragon dude who like exposition dumps on you in that final chapter. He was just like emotionless. A lot of the dragons you fight throughout the game, like they're kind of just like emotionless creatures who you kind of fight. They represent this like cold rationality that's kind of like unnatural feeling almost. But Roy, even though he's gone through this whole journey, he watched all the corruption and evil and colonization that was happening on the Western Isles. He experienced like the treachery from the Etrurian nobility that betrayed him in Etruria for Bird, all the death and destruction that happened in this war throughout the whole thing. But he decided to have faith in the goodness of mankind anyway. Like that's the center of his conversation when he goes to fight Zephiel. And despite being a wimpy, insecure kid, it's that faith in goodness that has taken him this far, right? There's tons of decisions where Merlinus was suspicious of people, but Roy chose to have faith, and that's what propelled him to this point. And I think that's a cool message